The paper cup slipped from Ethan's hand before he even realized his fingers had gone numb. Hot coffee splashed across the front of the young woman standing in front of him. The hallway fell silent. For one long second nobody moved. Then someone laughed. Another voice joined in. Within moments, half the students in the business school lobby were staring. "Oh my God!" a girl gasped. "Do you even know who that is?" Ethan's face lost all its color. I'm so sorry." He reached for the napkins sticking out of his backpack, but another student slapped his hand away. "Don't touch her. It's ruined," someone shouted, pointing at the expensive cream-colored jacket now stained brown. The whisper spread faster than the coffee. "That's Amelia Carter. The Carter family. The billionaire's daughter. He's dead." Ethan looked at Amelia for the first time. She hadn't yelled. She hadn't even frowned. She was simply staring at the stain as though she were somewhere else entirely. Then one of her friends stepped forward. "You've got some nerve." "I swear it was an accident," Ethan said quietly. "You think sorry pays for a jacket that costs more than your entire wardrobe?" Laughter erupted again. Someone pulled out a phone. Another started recording. Ethan wanted the floor to open beneath him. Instead he lowered his head. "I'll pay for the cleaning." The crowd laughed even harder. "You? With what? The cafeteria salary?" He recognized some of the voices. Classmates. People he'd helped with assignments. People who smiled when they needed notes. Today they looked at him like he wasn't even human. Amelia finally spoke. "It's fine." Her voice wasn't loud, but it stopped the room. Her friend blinked. "Amelia, look at your jacket." "I said it's fine." She accepted the napkins Ethan still held awkwardly. "Thank you." Then she walked away. The crowd scattered, disappointed that the drama had ended too quickly. Ethan stood frozen. He knew one thing. Everyone would remember this. And they did. By lunchtime, the video had spread through campus. Not because Ethan spilled coffee. Because everyone loved watching someone poor embarrass themselves in front of someone rich. Comments poured in. The scholarship kid attacked the princess. Maybe he wanted attention. Imagine thinking you belong here. Ethan deleted every social app before dinner. The next morning he considered skipping class. But missing lectures meant falling behind. Falling behind meant losing his scholarship. So he showed up. Heads turned the moment he entered. He ignored them. Halfway through accounting, the seat beside him moved. Someone sat down. He looked over. "Amelia." The room immediately grew quieter. The professor hadn't even started speaking. Yet everyone was watching them instead. "You don't have to sit here," Ethan whispered. "I know. People will talk. They already do." She opened her notebook as if nothing unusual had happened. The lecture began. When class ended, Ethan packed as quickly as possible. Amelia stopped him. "You left before I could thank you yesterday." He looked confused. "I ruined your jacket." "You apologized." "Anyone would." She smiled faintly. "You'd be surprised." Before he could answer, she walked away again. The mystery stayed with him all week. Why had she defended him? Why sit beside him? Why act as though none of it mattered? Then he accidentally found the answer. Not all of it. Just enough to change everything. He was working late in the campus library shelving returned books. The reading rooms were nearly empty. From behind a row of shelves he heard voices. "I can't keep pretending." "Amelia." "I don't care what my father wants." Another voice answered. Older. "Calm. You know he'll never allow it." "I don't want the company." "You don't have a choice." Ethan quietly stepped away before they noticed him. For the first time he realized something. People envied Amelia's life. But she sounded trapped inside it. Days turned into weeks. Something unexpected happened. They became friends. Not because of grand conversations. Because of little ones. Sharing notes. Walking between lectures. Arguing about economics. Laughing over terrible vending machine coffee. Ethan never treated her like a billionaire. Amelia never treated him like charity. That difference mattered. But the rest of campus noticed. Rumors exploded. She's dating him. He's after her money. She's rebelling. Neither of them responded. Until one afternoon everything changed. Ethan found a wallet outside the administration building. Inside was an executive ID belonging to Richard Hale, chairman of one of the university's largest donors, also a close business partner of Amelia's father. Ethan returned it immediately. Mr. Hale opened it. Every bill remained untouched. He studied Ethan for several seconds. "You didn't take anything." "No, sir. Most people would have." Ethan shrugged. "It wasn't mine." The older man nodded slowly. Interesting. That 5-minute encounter would quietly reshape Ethan's future. He simply didn't know it yet. A month later, group presentations were announced. Fate had a strange sense of humor. Ethan and Amelia were assigned together. Not everyone liked that. Especially Ryan. Ryan had spent years trying to impress Amelia. His family owned luxury hotels. He assumed that made him inevitable. Watching her choose Ethan instead bruised his pride in ways he couldn't hide. "So," Ryan said loudly before class one day, "have you upgraded from spilling coffee to borrowing her credit card?" Several students laughed. Ethan ignored him. Ryan stepped closer. "You know everyone knows why you're around her." Amelia stood. "Finish that sentence." Ryan smirked. "Or what?" She didn't answer. She simply gathered her books and left. But Ethan saw something in her eyes. Not anger. Disappointment. That seemed to hurt more. As their presentation approached, Ethan noticed Amelia arriving exhausted every morning. Dark circles. Missed meals. Constant phone calls. Finally he asked, "You don't have to tell me." She stayed quiet for a long moment. "My father wants me engaged after graduation." Ethan stared. "To someone I've met twice." "Why?" "It'll merge two companies." She laughed once. Without humor. Apparently love doesn't increase shareholder value. He didn't know what to say. So he simply walked beside her. Sometimes silence says exactly enough. Presentation day arrived. The auditorium was packed. Executives. Faculty. Students. Their project was brilliant. Not because it looked expensive. Because they understood people. They proposed a business model helping small local entrepreneurs compete against giant corporations. When they finished, applause filled the room. Then came the questions. One professor smiled. "Whose idea was this?" Before Ethan could answer, Amelia said clearly, "Ethan designed almost all of it." The room shifted. Recognition spread across faces that had never bothered noticing him before. Ryan couldn't accept it. During the networking reception afterward, he cornered several executives. "You know," he said loudly, "it's amazing what people can achieve when they find the right rich girlfriend." The words landed exactly as intended. Conversation stopped. Dozens of eyes turned toward Ethan. Someone chuckled. Someone else looked away awkwardly. Ryan continued, "I guess spilling coffee was the best investment he ever made." Laughter. Again. Ethan felt every stare pressing against him. He could leave. He wanted to. Instead he answered quietly, "I've never asked Amelia for anything." Ryan smiled. "You didn't have to." Before Ethan could respond again, another voice entered. "I asked him." Everyone turned. "Amelia." She walked directly toward them. "I asked him to study with me. I asked him to join my project. I asked him to trust me." Ryan folded his arms. So maybe you're asking the wrong question." She faced the crowd. "The real question is why all of you decided he had less value because his parents weren't rich." Silence. Nobody laughed now. Ryan scoffed. "You actually expect people to believe you're serious? My family owns companies worth billions." She looked him straight in the eyes. "And somehow Ethan has more integrity than everyone in this room combined." Her father had arrived only moments earlier. Several board members stood beside him. So did donors. Faculty. The entire audience watched. Mr. Carter's expression hardened. "Amelia." She didn't move. "This isn't the place." "No." She took one slow step forward. "It's exactly the place." She looked around the room. You all watched someone get humiliated because of an accident. No one asked if he was okay. No one cared how cruel they sounded. You respected money more than character. Her father's voice became sharper. "Enough." Amelia turned toward him. I've spent my whole life shaking hands with people who only see our last name. Then she looked back at Ethan. He hadn't spoken. He couldn't. His heart pounded so loudly he barely heard the room anymore. She smiled. A real smile. The first one he'd seen without sadness hiding behind it. Then, in front of everyone, she reached for his hand. Not dramatically. Not hesitantly. Simply naturally. Their fingers met. The entire room froze. Phones appeared again. But this time nobody was laughing. Mr. Carter stared at their joined hands. Then at Ethan. For several unbearable seconds, nobody breathed. Finally, the billionaire walked toward them. Ethan expected humiliation, security, expulsion, anything. Instead, Mr. Carter asked one question. When you returned Richard Hale's wallet? Ethan blinked. Yes, sir. He told me about it. The older man studied him carefully. He also told me you refused an envelope containing $5,000. I didn't earn it. Mr. Carter nodded almost to himself. I had investigators look into you. Gasps echoed around the room. I wanted to know whether you were using my daughter. Ethan remained silent. And they couldn't find a single person who said you ever took advantage of anyone. The billionaire looked around the audience. I found something much rarer. He extended his hand. This young man has character. No applause came at first. People were too shocked. Then one professor started clapping. Another joined. Then another. Within seconds, the auditorium filled with applause. Not for wealth. Not for status. For dignity. Ryan quietly slipped out the side door before anyone noticed. Weeks later, the coffee stain had long disappeared from Amelia's jacket. But something else remained. The story spread beyond campus. Not because a poor student spilled coffee on a rich girl. Because an entire university watched how quickly people judged someone without knowing who he really was. Ethan graduated at the top of his class. He accepted a position earned entirely on merit. Amelia chose a different path than the one planned for her. It wasn't easy. Nothing worth keeping ever is. Years later, whenever someone asked them how they first met, people expected a glamorous answer. They always laughed. Then Amelia would glance at Ethan with the same quiet smile. You spilled coffee on me. Ethan would shake his head. No. I accidentally spilled coffee. She'd squeeze his hand before anyone could argue. And that was the luckiest accident of my life.